Go ahead and pull up my presentation here real fast. And we're just going to record as the background. Share. All right, let me go ahead and pull this up here real quick. All right, so this is what we're going to be working on here. And I'm going to, should not be there. All right, go ahead and start slideshow here. All right, so here we are going to be going over the continuation of CAP 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to slide this over just so I'm not right in the middle of the view. And so we decided to call this the good and bad of marathon running. Okay, so we're going to be looking at a combination of our CAP 1, 2, and 3 essays here. And this is obviously by me, Thomas Hester, for our Kinesiology 454 class with Dr. G. And this is, we go to Cal Baptist University. So, all right. So the question here is, who is our population? So we started off with defining our population. I chose males between the ages of 25 and 34. Okay. Um, and not just runners, but I was looking at marathon runners more specifically. And the question is, why did I choose this group? I chose this group because I'm a member of this group. Okay. I am 28 years old and I used to be an avid runner until I hurt my knee. So we're getting back into that. But this is also just a group of everyday people. And I'm going to be going to work into physical therapy. So I'm going to be working with a lot of everyday people, people who just have regular jobs, marathon runners and regular runners in general. Don't only run marathons for a living, they do other things. Um, so these are just everyday people. That's who comes to the PT clinic. So this is people I'm actually going to end up working with. So that's why I chose this group. Going off of that, this is just the general group. We want to look at stress. Look at a couple factors here. So I'm looking at general stress and then the environmental or the social environment of stress and just how that impacts people of this age group. So generally, people of this age group have all kinds of stress. And like I was saying, they're just regular people. So they're trying to do anything from find a job, get financial stability, settle down, get married, have kids, get a house, and they just have all that general stress of life. So some people take up running for stress relief and just trying to feel better, and just to lower their stress levels in general. But that can also come with a negative side effect. Some people start running, as it says up here, so they can have a better body image and feel better about themselves. But as this source says here, and I quote, one researcher found that if a person had a negative image of their weight, they were more likely to have an outside influence encouraging them to lose weight. So if I already feel bad about the way I look or something like that, and someone's like, "Hey, have you thought about running?" Or maybe like you're a little bit overweight, and I'm just like, "All right, that's a little odd." Like now I'm gonna have that other influence of someone like telling me that I should lose weight or like maybe I should like start running again or feel better about myself and just things like that. And they're more likely if you already have a bad image of yourself and someone says something, you're more likely to lose weight even if you don't need it. Okay, and that's just not good in general. So just having not just the general social, but like the social stress from the environment and the people around you is not good. All right, so the next thing we talked about was the desire to compete. Um, and this is just general. Um, this group of people or group of runners loves to compete. They love to be better than the next person. They love to just outdo the person in front of them no matter what. They just want to be better than whoever's in front of them. Okay, so this is a hard group for people to want to compete against themselves. Because the only way you can beat yourself is make a better time, make a better course, do a better mile, and just things like that. It's hard to beat other people if you were just trying to go against yourself. So there's a quote here from the textbook we use in the class, and it kind of goes with this idea. It says individuals who have the intrinsic motivations seem to strive for more self-development for the final goal or to master any task that might be at hand. And I think that's a good way to look at this, especially like you want to compete, but you also want to better yourself. And that can be hard to do. But especially when you're in this age group, if you want to be better than the next person, you want to just keep jumping over those hurdles and get better and better and better. But you need to be able to understand that you need to kind of humble yourself and be like, okay, how can I better myself first? But then the social environment also, because you want to compare yourself to others, you're like, oh, I'm not as good as that runner, or that guy runs faster than me, or this other person is better at that course, things like that. And that's just hard to do in this like running, because running is a very individualized sport, but you can beat the person in front of you. Um, Dr. G was talking about, and I kind of took one of his concepts from a lecture here. It says if the runner starts to compare too much and not focus on like the running, the activity they're physically doing, it's no longer they can no longer be in a positive mindset of where they want to be. And that's just if it suddenly becomes not fun, it's now your job, you just feel like you have to work on it all the time, you're just like, I don't want to do this. And running used to be fun, used to be that stress relief. And now you're just like, now this is a job. I feel like I have to work at it. It's not fun anymore. And now you have that other stress of it's just like, what do I do? I don't know how to deal with this. And just you're like, why do I have these things? It's not fun. It's not positive. It's just not anything you want to do. So having that desire to compete is a big driving in this age group, but not everyone does it because they get in their own head, and that's you can be you are your own worst enemy, and you beat yourself up way more than others do. All right, so looking at goal setting here, we are looking at a couple goals, and yes, so here. So the first one we looked at were outcome goals. And then we looked at performance goals as well. So some outcome goals, just two options here. I was talking about mastering that 8 minute mile. Not just mastering a mile, be like, oh, I can run 1 mile at 8 minutes. Mastering that, can I run an 8 minute mile for 2, 3, 4 miles and eventually get up to that 13 to 26 half marathon and marathon numbers and just being able to get there. I mean, also another outcome goal is just qualifying for that named race, whether it's the Boston Marathon or the LA Marathon or the New York City Marathon or the London Marathon, one of those big name races. You can be like, hey, I did that. That's a nice outcome goal. And being able to get there. Also, setting your performance goals. These can just be super general, especially for this age group who wants to be better than the next person. Make yourself better. Set that lifetime personal best, whether it's hitting that 8 minute mile, going that 7:30 mile, that 7 minute mile, or just like as the second one says here, improving that course time and getting better at that course. Maybe it's your local hometown or local city, like in this area, maybe it's the LA Marathon. And you're like, all right, I've run that marathon 3 or 4 times. Can I get better? I know where all the potholes are. I know where all the curves are. I know where all the water stations are. You know how to do that. Just try to get better at that for yourself. Okay. So just thinking about these goals. There's other goals because we set process goals. And a couple of process goals that I thought about here were they're just very simple general things like adding strength training 1 to 2 times per week. It's a good thing to start just once a week, maybe on like a Monday or a Friday, just kind of end starting or ending your week, just like, all right, I'm going to go for a run, and then I'm going to hit the weights. Don't do anything crazy. Maybe like a little simple arm workout, maybe some legs, maybe some squats, leg press, anything. Just try to engage those muscles and get them working and stronger because that will help your other goals, like these outcome and performance goals. If you are able to do some strength training, you'll be able to run that 8 minute mile, and you'll be able to improve your course time. Um, and also practice race day hydration. If you're going for that 8 to 10 mile run, practice drinking water. Don't just drink a bunch of water beforehand and then drink a bunch of water afterhand. Just practice like, all right, I'm gonna drink a little bit of water now, prepare myself for the run, and then I'm gonna go drink more as the run, and just be able to pace yourself in drinking your water that way. Don't do it all up front and at the end. You need water throughout the whole process. And then kind of thinking about these goals, I was thinking about some strategies to achieve the goals. Um, the first one I thought about, and Dr. G talked about this in his lectures, write them down. I know that seems like very simple, but being able to see your goals or writing them down actually makes you think about them. So I would like maybe for my athlete, put a sticky note in the mirror in the morning, put one in your locker, put it in your car, put it somewhere you're going to see it. And just having them physically written down so you can see them. But also, one thing I thought about was think small. Don't just be like, well, I'm going to wake up today. I'm going to go run the Boston Marathon tomorrow. That's not going to happen. It's the reality. So think like, okay, can I go out for a run? Can I go run a mile right now? All right, can I improve my mile time? A couple weeks, can I start running 2 miles? Can I start running 3 miles? Can I start improving that time? Think small. You don't just wake up and go, I'm going to go run 26 miles today. You're going to run that full marathon. No. And the third thing, I know this is kind of seems odd for the strategies, but stick to your goals. if you set myself, if I'm going to say I'm going to start running that 7:30 mile by the end of week 2, I'm going to hold myself to that. If I'm still running like a 7:50, 7:40 minute mile, I need to push myself so I can actually stick to my goals. And if I need to extend that goal out, that's fine. I will go ahead, but I need to remember, like, I set these goals for myself. I got to stick to them. So I need to just remember that. All right. And then Dr. G wanted us to make a connection here because we need to go to a Christian university. Connections to the Bible. And I wanted to read this thing that I wrote out here. These are just a couple bullet points I wrote up. But I wanted to read this, and it says the connection to helping an individual want to be better at running and wanting to improve themselves overall as well can all have a connection to God and CBU wanting us to quote, live our purpose. If we believe that we can better ourselves each and every day, and we can also better ourselves in the eyes of Christ, we can live our individual purpose to be better runners and a better follower of God. We are all running the same race to heaven and to meet Jesus, but it takes steps to get there, just like preparing for a marathon, maybe even the marathon of life. And I just wrote that and I was like, wow, like, let's just think about that. Like, especially we were talking about running and like the impact society can have on you and culture and just things like that. Like, maybe start running with a group of other believers and just hang out with people who actually want to know and care and read and love for Jesus and be able to like disciple to them. And then maybe your group gets bigger and start bringing more people. And we're all running the same course. And as people have said, sometimes your life is just one giant downhill slide, but we're all eventually we're hoping for that higher purpose of trying to get there and meeting Jesus and loving on others as well. And just finding those connections, especially in like those times when you're down or you're like, I don't feel motivated, just be like, look up and look to Jesus, and He can be that ultimate motivator. And just for continuing knowledge, some things that I want to think about beyond this class. There's just like, where are we going? Like, I'm going to take this knowledge and apply it to my own life. Whether it's times where I'm like, oh, I feel like I need to be motivated or anything like that. I'm going to take the motivation chapter and I've talked to Dr. G about this. I might be getting knee surgery. So just being able to like motivate myself. Can I get back to where I was? Can I get back to walking? Can I get back to running? Can I eventually get back to where I was before I got injured? And just applying it to my own life and then being able to apply it to others' lives. And then just using psychology in the field of PT because I'm going into physical therapy and just like being able to motivate my patients. They're like, oh, I don't want to do this today. Well, maybe try to figure out why they don't want to do it and get to the cognitive side and just be like, maybe there's something else going on. Maybe we're like, it's too hard. They're like, oh, I don't want to do it. And just being able to like willingly work with them. But think about like, they got other things going on. Maybe they got some going on at home. Maybe the person next to them is doing better. Just bring it down and then just have that conversation with them, see what's going on. Yeah, and just using that in my everyday life, and then once I start working on the field. And then these are just my references here. Let me get out of the way so you can see them. Um, and then that's it. I hope you enjoyed this presentation.